Every day, people let small things disturb them. An insult, a look, a betrayal. They allow emotions to dictate their strength, and in doing so, they hand power to others. But imagine a state of mind where no words, no actions, no person can shake you, a place where you are untouchable. Not because life is easy, but because you've mastered the art of control. Today, I'll show you how to never let anyone or anything bother you again. The greatest trick, played on most men, is the belief that events, words, and actions hold power in themselves. But in truth, nothing in this world possesses power unless you grant it through your perception. An insult is only air pushed through the mouth of another. A betrayal is only an act that exists in time. These things are powerless until you allow your mind to give them meaning. The weakness of the average man lies not in what happens to him, but in the way he interprets what happens. If you choose to see insult as destruction, then it destroys you. If you choose to see betrayal as the end, then you will crumble. But if you control perception, if you decide that nothing deserves to reach your inner walls, then you remain untouchable. Consider how rulers, warriors, and thinkers throughout history were attacked with words and weapons alike. The difference between those who collapsed and those who prevailed was not circumstance, but perception. To the weak, misfortune was evidence of failure. To the strong, misfortune was merely the natural turbulence of life. Perception is the lens that turns disaster into an opportunity, that transforms insult into comedy, that makes the sting of betrayal into a revelation of who never deserved loyalty in the first place. If you control perception, no man, no woman, no world can bother you. You do not bend to the storm. You watch it, you learn from it, and you let it exhaust itself while you remain still. The truth is that people who wish to bother you, to disturb you, rely on your reaction. Without it, their efforts collapse. They insult you to see if you will rage. They betray you to see if you will beg or despair. They mock you to test whether you can be moved. If you train yourself to perceive these attacks as empty noise, you destroy the very fuel they feed upon. In fact, you turn the game back upon them, for when they see you unshaken, their weakness is exposed. They thought they could pull strings. You have shown them that there are no strings to pull. But this control of perception does not come easily. It requires the death of the childish mind that believes the world must bend to its feelings. The world does not bend. It strikes, it cuts, it betrays, and it moves on without care. If you cling to the illusion that life is supposed to be kind, every harsh word will wound you, every loss will feel like injustice. Yet if you remove that illusion and see reality as it is, cold, indifferent, often brutal, then nothing will surprise you, and therefore nothing will break you. You become untouchable not because life changes, but because you no longer demand that it change. Perception is a weapon sharper than any sword. With it, you can decide that an enemy's insult is laughter, that betrayal is freedom, that hardship is training. The power lies not in altering what has happened, but in mastering the meaning you give it. Two men can experience the same event. One falls apart, other rises stronger. The difference lies not in fate, but in perception. If you adopt the mind that nothing external is worthy of shaking your inner walls, you gain a form of control that most will never taste. This is the true essence of freedom. Not that you control others, but that others cannot control you. They can speak, they can act, they can strike, but they cannot dictate how you will see it. Your mind becomes sovereign territory, and no enemy is permitted to invade it without your consent. When you master this state, when you live with the understanding that perception is power, you no longer fear disrespect, judgment, or loss. You walk as one whose chains have been broken, because you have destroyed the only chain that ever truly existed, the illusion that others can define you. The moment you let emotion tie itself to the words of another, you surrender your authority. Insults carry no inherent weight. They are only as sharp as the reaction they extract from you. When a man insults you and you flare with anger, he becomes your master in that moment because he has reached into your mind and made you dance to his command. The words were nothing, but your emotion turned them into a weapon against you. Detaching emotion from insults is not about ignoring reality. It is about stripping others of the power to dictate your inner state. Consider the anatomy of an insult. A man calls you weak, foolish, or unworthy. If you believe his words, you wound yourself. If you deny his words in anger, you still wound yourself, because now you rage in order to prove him wrong. Either way, you have been captured by the cage he constructed. If you see his insult as no more than noise, as air shaped into syllables, you rob it of its venom. The insult no longer belongs to you, it belongs to him, to his need, to his attempt to provoke. You become untouchable because you refuse to bleed for another's amusement. Most people are slaves to insult because their identity is fragile. They seek recognition, approval, and validation from others, so when another voice challenges them, they collapse in defense. But strength is born when you abandon the craving for approval. What is the value of an insult when the opinion of the speaker is irrelevant to your existence? If a child mocks a king, does the king descend from his throne to argue? Only the insecure believe they must defend themselves from every word. The powerful remain unmoved, for they know their worth is not a subject for debate. Detachment does not mean silence born of weakness. It means silence born of superiority. To remain calm when provoked is to display command over yourself. To remain unshaken in the face of attack is to remind others that their words fall upon stone. This silence is not emptiness, it is strategy. Every reaction you withhold forces the other to reveal more of themselves. The one who insults you reveals their jealousy, their bitterness, or their insecurity. By detaching your emotion, you make them naked before the world, while you remain armored and calm. There is also a deeper truth. Insults are often confessions. A man who mocks you for arrogance often hides his own envy. One who calls you weak may be wrestling with his own failures. By reacting emotionally, you miss the revelation hidden inside the insult. But by remaining detached, you turn every insult into a window into the soul of the one who uttered it. You gain knowledge while they waste strength. This inversion of power is what makes emotional detachment so dangerous to those who wish to disturb you. They think they are striking you, but in reality, they are exposing themselves. The art of detachment must be practiced daily. Begin by noticing how often your emotions respond automatically to words. Someone mocks, and your heart races. Someone disrespects you and your face burns. This is the evidence of chains you still wear. Break them slowly, deliberately, by training yourself to pause before reacting. In that pause lies your mastery. In that pause, you decide, will I bleed for this man's words, or will I remain sovereign over myself? With time, the pause becomes natural, and soon no insult can force your hand. You hear the words, they do not touch you. They dissolve before they can enter. Detaching emotion from insult is not indifference. It is supremacy. It is the refusal to allow another to command your heart. The world will not stop insulting you. The weak will always attempt to drag the strong into the mud. When you no longer rise to their bait, you prove that they cannot touch you. You are a fortress whose walls are too high for their stones to reach. You are a player who cannot be forced into another man's game. This is true strength. Not that insults cease, but that they cease to matter. The most dangerous power a man can hold is the ability to remain still when others expect him to move, to remain silent when others demand his voice. Silence and stillness are not signs of weakness. They are the marks of supreme control. When you master them, you strip your enemies of the satisfaction of reading you. You deny the world the ability to predict you, and you transform every confrontation into a stage where you hold all the advantage. The majority of people are slaves to reaction. They cannot tolerate silence, nor can they endure stillness. The moment tension arises, they rush to fill the air with words, explanations, or justifications. But in doing so, they expose themselves. The one who speaks first reveals his fear, his need, his insecurity. The one who moves without patience becomes vulnerable to traps. Yet the one who remains unmoved is unbreakable, and in his stillness he commands the field. Silence is a weapon more devastating than shouting. When someone insults you and you do not respond, they are left wrestling with their own words. They wonder if you ignored them, if you pitied them, if you found them too insignificant to even acknowledge. The silence becomes their torment. Every second you withhold words adds weight to their insecurity. If you had reacted, you would have relieved them, for they would know they touched you. But when you master silence, you let their words rot in the air, unanswered, returning to poison their own tongue. This is why silence, in its purity, is not emptiness. It is power refined into invisibility. Stillness works the same way in action. When others expect you to lash out, when they wait for your outrage or your desperate defense, your calm stillness unsettles them more than any counterattack. They throw their weapons and watch them fall uselessly against a wall that does not move. Your refusal to react magnifies their impotence. They realize they cannot control you, cannot predict you, cannot bend you. Stillness is the state of a mountain in the storm, untouched, enduring while winds scream in vain around it. Most men panic when pressure rises. They lash out, they plead, they flinch. But the one who stands still disarms every enemy, for nothing terrifies the weak more than an opponent who refuses to be rattled. There is also strategy in silence and stillness. Every word you speak gives others material to use against you. Every action you take too soon exposes your hand. When you remain still, you force others to show themselves first. Silence makes others speak more than they intended. Stillness makes others move before they are ready. You gain knowledge while giving away nothing. The battlefield of life is not won by the loudest voice or the fastest strike. It is won by the one who sees everything while remaining unseen. When you master silence and stillness, you become that one. Yet this mastery is not natural. It must be forged. The undisciplined mind cannot tolerate silence, for it is addicted to the noise of validation. It cannot sit in stillness, for it is enslaved to impulse. To master these arts, you must train yourself to endure the discomfort of restraint. Begin by resisting the urge to answer every challenge, to explain every choice, to justify every decision. Let the world speculate. Let others fill the air with chatter while you remain silent. Each time you resist, you strengthen your grip on yourself. Each time you endure stillness while others move recklessly, you sharpen your advantage. When silence becomes natural, you discover that it unsettles not only enemies but even allies. They lean in, hungry for your words, because scarcity creates value. What is spoken rarely is listened to deeply. The man who is always silent, when he finally chooses to speak, commands attention. His words carry weight because they are not wasted. Likewise, stillness builds presence. When you do not move at every impulse, when you act only with precision, others see you as unshakable. Your stillness becomes mistaken for mystery, and mystery is a form of power. People fear what they cannot read, and they respect what they cannot predict. In silence, you conserve energy. In stillness, you preserve strength. You allow others to burn themselves out in noise and motion, while you remain unspent. They weaken themselves trying to provoke you, while you grow stronger watching their desperation. You learn to see beyond words, to detect intentions hidden beneath noise, to observe truths others miss because they are too busy speaking. The silent man sees more than the loud man, and the still man survives longer than the reckless man. When silence and stillness become your natural state, you no longer chase after control, you embody it. You can walk through insult, betrayal, chaos, and manipulation without showing a single crack. Others will call you cold, unrateable, untouchable. They will try harder to reach you, to provoke you, to pull you into their noise. But every attempt only confirms your superiority because their agitation proves your calm. Mastering silence and stillness is not simply about avoiding disturbance. It is about declaring, without a word, that you belong to no one's game but your own. Disrespect is often feared because most see it as an attack meant to diminish their worth. But to the one who understands power, disrespect is never destruction. It is opportunity. Every insult, every slight, every betrayal carries within it a hidden resource that can be turned to your advantage if you are disciplined enough not to react with weakness. The unwise man wastes his strength defending his honor with words and outbursts. But the wise man bends disrespect into a weapon, a lesson, and a mirror. He takes what was meant to harm him and turns it into fuel for his dominance. When someone disrespects you, they expose themselves more than they injure you. Their words reveal their envy, their insecurity, their hidden grudges. Instead of wasting energy trying to silence them, study them. Each insult is a confession. Each attempt to belittle you is an admission that they see you as significant enough to attack. A man never wastes arrows on a target he deems worthless. Disrespect, therefore, is often proof of your importance. By remaining calm and unshaken, you let them announce their weakness to the world, while you absorb their attack like a fortress that refuses to fall. In this way, What was meant to wound you becomes evidence of your strength. There is also strategy in how you use disrespect. If someone attempts to humiliate you publicly and you answer with rage, you prove they succeeded. But if you remain composed, even amused, the crowd does not see a man defeated. They see a man above the petty games of others. Your control becomes the story, not their insult. Disrespect, in this light, is a stage on which you can demonstrate your superiority. You do not have to declare it with words. Your composure speaks louder than any defense. What they intended as a trap becomes your theater of power. Disrespect can also sharpen your edge. When you are underestimated, mocked, or ignored, you are given a cloak of invisibility. You are free to move without resistance because they do not see your true strength. The foolish man fights to be acknowledged, but the wise man uses their disrespect as cover. He lets them believe he is small until it is too late. Their lack of respect blinds them, and their blindness is your advantage. Disrespect then becomes not an obstacle, but a weapon placed secretly in your hands, a veil that lets you strike when they least expect it. In personal conflict, disrespect reveals where loyalties never truly existed. A friend who disrespects you has unmasked himself. A rival who disrespects you has revealed his fear. Instead of being wounded, take the information and build upon it. Know who is false, who envies, who desires your downfall. Let disrespect become your teacher, showing you the hidden map of intentions around you. Most people waste this gift. They react emotionally and miss the revelation. The disciplined man collects these moments as intelligence. He walks away stronger because he sees more clearly than before. There is another level. Disrespect can be transmuted into strength within yourself. Every insult, every slight is energy. You can choose to bleed from it or to absorb it. Use their contempt to sharpen your patience, to test your discipline, to reinforce your independence from the opinions of others. Each time you endure without breaking, you strengthen the muscles of control. Each time you refuse to let their words command your emotions, you add another layer of armor to your character. In time, you become invulnerable not because the world has grown respectful, because disrespect itself has lost its power over you. Even in the most hostile environments, disrespect can be twisted into leverage. In politics, in war, in business, those who disrespect you underestimate you. Those who underestimate you can be deceived more easily. They expect weakness where you hold hidden strength. They relax their guard, convinced that their insult has diminished you. When the time comes, you strike, and their arrogance becomes the reason for their downfall. What began as an insult becomes the seat of their defeat. The ordinary man begs for respect, desperate to be acknowledged, but desperation itself makes him weak. The man who turns disrespect into advantage never begs, never pleads. He knows that respect given by others is fickle, fragile, and often false. What he values is not their words, but his own unshakable state. When others disrespect him, he sees only opportunity, an opportunity to reveal their true nature, to hide his strength, to sharpen his control, to gather intelligence, and to transform weakness into weapon. Disrespect, then, is not a curse but a mirror. It shows the reality of others and the resilience of yourself. To those who react with rage, it is poison. To those who remain calm, it is medicine disguised as venom. To those who are enslaved by opinion, it is torment. To those who are free, it is a gift. The one who knows how to bend it never fears it, for he understands that every act of disrespect is nothing more than raw material waiting to be reshaped into advantage. Power is not found in silencing the world, nor in forcing others to treat you with gentleness. Power is found in mastering yourself so completely that no word, no betrayal, no slight can touch you. When you command perception, nothing external defines you. When you detach emotion from insults, you deny others the ability to wound you. When you master silence and stillness, you become unrateable and unshakable. And when you turn disrespect into advantage, you transform the very weapons aimed at you into tools for your rise. The world will not stop testing you. Insults will be spoken, betrayals will happen, storms will rage. But those who remain bound by emotion will continue to be ruled by others. The rare few who master control will walk as untouchable figures, feared by enemies and respected by allies, not because they demanded it, but because they proved that nothing external could dictate their strength. To never let anyone or anything bother you again is not an impossible dream. It is the natural result of discipline, perception, and control. The chains that bind most men are invisible, built from their reactions, their insecurities, and their desperate need for validation. Break those chains, and you no longer need to defend yourself against the world. You stand above it, sovereign within yourself, beyond insult, beyond disturbance, beyond reach. Would you like me to also give this script a short, sharp quote, style summary line, something that could serve as a powerful closing statement or even the final line of a video?